Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412. Hope you all had a fantastic July 4th weekend, extended weekend. I don't know what your situation is, but hopefully you enjoyed it with family, friends, or even by yourself if you prefer to do that as well. So let's look into the slate here. Looks like we do have a little bit of rain and weather. I don't know about you guys, but I was talking to Mega Roller yesterday about this. It seems like we have gone like almost an entire month straight of just rain delayed games, rain threats in some of the games, and it's getting frustrating. I just want one slate where we don't have to worry too much about rain, but I guess that's baseball, and it just kind of comes with the territory. So let's just dive into the pitchers. Pablo Lopez is going to be leading the charge. 10.1K, he's got a 30% strikeout rate on the season. He's got a fantastic matchup against Kansas City. He's pitching at home. He's going to be your SP1 essentially in your like cash builds and all of that stuff. But he's going to be pretty highly owned. There's not a whole lot of strikeout upside amongst all of these pitchers. There's 22 starting pitchers going, and only 3 of those 22 starting pitchers have a strikeout rate above 23%, which is essentially like the league average. Lopez is going to be your number 1 at 30%. Senga is number 2 at 29%, but he's got a brutal matchup going up against Arizona. And with Senga, like we really have to worry about his command issues as well. Like he's got an extremely high walk rate. So if he's not able to, get dialed in and, really get that handled here tonight against Arizona, I could see that being a big issue, and Arizona bats really taking advantage of that. And the third one is Lance Lynn. He's at like a 27% rate or something. But again, he's got a tough matchup against Toronto. Toronto's a very low strikeout team. And then the issue with Lynn is that he gives up a lot of hard contact. So it's tough to get super excited about him as well. Yeah, he's a workhorse in DFS. He's going 100 plus pitches regardless. But yeah, so in terms of strikeouts, it's not a great strikeout rate slate in terms of that. But Pablo Lopez is definitely going to be leading the charge. Number 1 in strikeouts amongst all these pitchers. Top 3 in, reducing hard contact. He's got great command. His low walk rate is what I mean by that. Great matchup at home. 10.1K. Love it. I have Steele actually right behind him. Steele, he doesn't have the greatest K rate. He's in like that low 20% as well, but he is going up against Milwaukee. Milwaukee does strike out quite a bit as a team. 10.3 is not ideal. It's not really what I want to spend, especially given the bats that I'm going to be wanting to target here tonight. And just, yeah, it's going to be tough to jam in Steele and Lopez. I think Steele could be a great GPP option just because of how much Milwaukee can strike out as a team, so maybe he has one of more of his ceiling games. Senga, already talked about him. He's got the upside, but he also does not really have much of a floor, and just in a brutal matchup going up against Arizona. And then Barrios, he's kind of like your stereotypical boom bust pitcher. You never know what you're going to get. You're either going to get 20 plus DK points, or you're going to get under 10 DK points. There's really not too much in the middle, but he's going up against the White Sox. A nice matchup there. Don't mind it at all. There is a little bit of rain threat in this game, so make sure you are paying attention to that. Because if it looks like it's going to be, they're going to start it up and then there's going to be a rain, midway through the game or the 4th inning or whatever, all your shares of Barrios and all those lineups are pretty much done at that point. So this is kind of where the sheet shakes out, especially up at the top. I do have Lopez number 1, Steele number 2. Barrios, please pay attention to the rain in that one. And then Senga listed last in this high salary tier just because of that command, the walk rate, and then the bats that he's facing off against is a little bit concerning. Going into the mid-tier, Cobb, Lynn, Miller, Bello is how I ranked him out. Cobb is an extreme ground ball pitcher, which is fantastic. And he's got a nice matchup going up against Seattle, one of the highest strikeout teams in the entire league against right-handed pitching. He's shown throughout the season what he's capable of doing, and I think at 8.6K, that's just a fine price tag for him at home in a pitcher's ballpark. Love it. I think he's going to be a fine play in that mid-tier. Lynn, same thing as Barrios, big boom bust kind of guy. He's got that nice strikeout rate, but he's got a tough matchup against Toronto, and we have to worry about that rain threat. The rain threat as well. I just chuckle because Wimbledon's in another delay. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to Wimbledon, but it has been rain, rain, rain. But Lance Lynn, yeah, tough matchup going up against Toronto. A little bit of rain threat as well. But he's a guy, I've mentioned in previous videos. If he's having a tough game, allowing 3, 4, 5 earned runs, they're still going to keep him in. He's going to get his share. He's going to get 100 plus pitches, which kind of does increase his floor slightly. But still, if it means he's getting smacked around and he doesn't have it, it's just going to get worse from there as well. So I do have Lynn ranked a little bit below there. Miller going up against Pittsburgh. Miller, I think, is a fine play. He's really struggled in his past couple of starts, but he's shown before that what he's capable of doing. He's a higher prospect. He was a higher prospect, before entering this year in the Dodgers organization. So I think he's able to kind of get back on track here, pitching at home, pitching against this Pittsburgh offense, where they've kind of had a roller coaster of a season. Like, they started off super hot and then they just kind of like derailed for a bit, and that was like a week or two ago where they went on that nice little 5-game win streak, and kind of up and down. You never know what you're going to get, but I do think that Bobby Miller is able to get back. Didn't mean to click that. Is able to get back in the swing of things here. I have him ranked third, and then Bello. He's just got a brutal matchup going up against Texas. That's the main thing. I just don't like playing pitchers against Texas, and that's kind of why I have him ranked a little bit below there. Kind of going into the low tier, Lugo's going to be number 1 going up against the Angels. Angels are just a nightmare right now in terms of injuries. Ohtani got injured. Trout, he is on the IL. Let me pull up their injuries here. I can't even remember them all. Ohtani day-to-day, Trout IL, Drury IL, Rendon still day-to-day. Like, it is unreal what is happening to their offense. They're going to be extremely depleted. Ward, Renfroe, it's going to be kind of leading the charge there. I do think that Lugo is probably then going to be garnering quite a bit of ownership just because of that. Vasquez for the Yankees going up against Baltimore. Baltimore's offense is kind of sputtering at the moment, so he could be a nice cheap option. He did fine. He has done fine in his first couple of starts here on the season. He's not going super deep, only 84 and 86 pitches, but at 7.1K, it's fine. I mean, you're not really expecting a guy who's only 7K or below in salary to get you 100 plus pitches. It's possible. But yeah, I do think that Randy Vasquez, he's limited the hard contact in both of his starts as well, which is another great thing that you want to be paying attention to, especially when you got down into this lower salary tier. So I do think that Vasquez is going to be number 2. Kramer, number 3, going up against the Yankees. Kramer did really well, and then he's just kind of like faced Minnesota, the highest strikeout team against right-handed pitching in the entire league, and then just got blown up and shelled. Not good. But you can kind of see he's had a major home run issue, allowing 2 or more home runs in 4 of his past 5 starts. Going up against the Yankees in that small ballpark could be a little bit of an issue. So, yeah. So, like, low tier, not super thrilled about it. Even mid tier, not super thrilled about it. You can kind of see what I was mentioning earlier. There's not a whole lot of strikeout excitement on the slate amongst the pitchers, but Lopez is clearly going to be your number 1 far and away. Steele could be a nice GPP pivot. Senga, tough matchup. I'm not going to repeat everything I just said. So let's go to the bats. Dodgers facing off against Beto in Pittsburgh. Number 1. I think they have the highest implied. I don't think they have the highest implied run total, actually. I should check that out. But I do think that, they're going to see some ownership. The only issue is that they are quite expensive, but not nearly as expensive as Atlanta, which is why Atlanta is kind of bumped down a little bit, just because I think Atlanta has 5 hitters that have 5.6K salary or higher. It's unreal. But Dodgers going to be number 1. JD Martinez, righty on righty, but he smashes right-handed pitching. Muncy, we all know what he's capable of doing against right-handed pitching. Betts, Freeman. It's like even the righties on this lineup hit right-handed pitching almost better than they hit left-handed pitching. So the Dodgers against righties, absolutely love playing them. They even have those cheap left-handed bats when they are in there, like Jason Hayward at 2.7K could be an outstanding value play. If he is batting 6th, 7th, which is typically where he is, he could be a nice play at 2.7. Peralta, 3.3K. He could be a nice value play as well if you do want to go there. But the affordability is there, the value is there with the Dodgers. If you do want to go that route, Atlanta, like I mentioned, they're just laughably expensive. Let's see, yeah, but it's like even their number 9 hitter is 4.6K. This is just unreal. It's amazing what Atlanta's been able to do. Not saying that they're not in a good matchup. They are. They're going up against Quantrill, who can't strike anybody out for the life of him. But still, those prices are just absolutely insane. It's going to be tough to nearly impossible to jam in a large Atlanta stack. You'd have to definitely go super cheap. Maybe you'd throw in Lugo and you throw in Vasquez and then just like go nuclear on Atlanta. Acuna stealing a base like every single game. Olsen, number 2 in terms of home runs on the season. Albies, he's on fire right now. He's their 9 hitter, 4.6K. Unreal. But Atlanta's kind of right there. San Diego, I think they're a fine play. It's not something like I'm super thrilled about. But I think that they could be a nice kind of pivot off of things. Sandoval should not be a pitcher that scares you. Yeah, he can have his good games, and he's definitely, proven that. But I still think that the San Diego offense is much better. I still think they're better than what they're doing. Like, on paper, this team is so good. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they can't seem to figure it out, but maybe it's just like my stubbornness. I'm still high on this San Diego squad moving forward. And the GPP side of things, I really couldn't rank outside of Cincinnati, Toronto, Arizona. I really think all of them are great. Arizona going up against Senga, already mentioned it, like phenomenal offense. Senga has control issues. If he's kind of off his game, not really many people are going to be on Arizona. I really don't think that. Especially going up against Senga when you have all these other like top offenses going up against the worst pitchers on the slate. So I do think Arizona is great in that regard. Toronto going up against Lance Lynn. Just talked about Lance Lynn. Like, he's going to go deep into games. He's going to be pitching 100 plus pitches, regardless of how good or how poorly he's doing. They're just going to keep him in there, and if it's bad, it's just going to get worse and worse. And he has a super high hard contact rate. I think it's like the second highest on the night here at 35%. So I do think that Toronto is really intriguing. Lynn, he saves himself quite a bit with his strikeout rate, but Toronto's a very low strikeout team. So I do have interest in that. And then Cincinnati's just Cincinnati. They're a fun team. They're stealing bases. They're hitting home runs. They're doing everything that they can. They're going up against Washington, facing off against Gray. Yeah, salaries went up, but I think this is going to even reduce the ownership even more. But you can see they got, 8-9 guys at 4.6K and above. Not going to see a whole lot of ownership, but Gray can get knocked around here quite a bit. Yankees going up against Kramer. Already talked about Kramer having some serious home run issues at the moment, allowing multiple home runs in 4 of his past 5 starts. Now going into a small ballpark against the Yankees, I do think that they can be an intriguing GPP play. And then the cheap Minnesota. Minnesota is going up against Kansas City. I think Minnesota's going to be really popular. This is like where your value is going to be coming out, going up against Marsh and that Kansas City bullpen. Buxton Correa, obviously expensive and for good reason, but everybody else beyond that is just far too cheap. This is where your value is going to be coming out on your slate. Kepler, Larnack, Julian. That's kind of like the 3 where I would be starting, or even Kurloff at 2.7K. Like, there's so many cheap, affordable lefties and just guys who hit right-handed pitching very well. Minnesota is where you're going to be finding the value on the slate, and being able to afford the Dodgers, being able to afford possibly paying up at double pitcher. But Pablo Lopez, obviously going to be your clear-cut number 1. Then maybe go down to a guy like Lugo to really open things up in salary. Maybe you throw in a couple of these cheap Minnesota guys. We'll just throw in Larnack. Kepler hit a home run yesterday. We'll just throw him in there. 4.6K remaining for the rest of your bats. I don't know. I was just kind of like thinking around right there. I haven't built too much, but so that's kind of where the slate lands. Hopefully this was able to help you out and kind of guide you in the right direction. So as always, good luck in your contest. Mega Roar is going to be back tomorrow on Thursday to cover you guys, and then I'll be back on Friday and on Saturday. But for now, good luck in your contest. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next one.